Man, if I knew what I know now about the music business and life in general when I was 20, woo. What's up, my friends? Welcome back to my channel, All Things Music. And today I wanted to share with you 5 things I wish I knew about the music business when I was 20. And these are tips that I wish I was taught early on in my career diving into the music industry. Develop a unique sound, develop your own sound. Obviously, in the beginning, we try to recreate and copy music that we love, or songwriters or producers that we admire, or artists that we admire. And we kind of reverse engineer what we're hearing to understand, at least that's how I did it. I would reverse engineer it, every part of the song, the arrangement, to the progressions, to the mix, to the lyrics, to the melody. I would reverse engineer it to kind of figure out, why is this a hit song? Why do I like it? What's happening in the song that's making me gravitate to it, and millions of other people. Obviously, we do that in the beginning. It's every artist does that. Every creator does that. We have to learn from someone. We have to so-called trace. If you're an artist, when I learned how to sketch, I would trace things, just to see where the movement of the pencil or the pen is going. How are these images created? So same thing with music. You would trace, you would mimic what you're hearing and reverse engineer it. But at some point, you have to take what you've learned, take the fundamentals and principles, and make it your own. Learn the rules, learn why things work, and then go and make it your own. Then you got to go and experiment, find your own sound. And that only comes with time and experimentation and trial and error. And at some point, you'll find your own sound, and not only that, you'll start to find what about your own sound might be working for other people, what the market might like. You might be known for a certain type of instrumentation. You might be known for certain tempo. I mean, there's so many things. But if you go and look at your favorite artists or producers, music makers, there's something unique that probably they're known for, and something that as soon as you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that's, like Timbaland and his drums. As soon as you hear his drums, it doesn't even have to be in a certain drum pattern. It could just be the sound, and that's a Timbaland drum sound. But he didn't get that right from the get-go. He was, learning music, copying other things that he loved, and then at some point developed his own sound. So early on, I wish I was taught, I was trying to follow all the latest trends and trying to sound like everything that was on the radio, and trying to keep up, and I thought that was the way to go. But at the end of the day, I quickly learned that that's not the case. In fact, you have to have a unique sound. If you sound like something that's on the radio already, why do we need another that? It's already on the radio. As creators, we have to be 4 steps ahead of what's happening right now, what's happening on radio, what's happening on streaming or TikTok, what's going viral. You have to just be you, find your sound, be authentic, and at some point something might pop off. But copying something else is definitely not the way to go. Having that unique sound is what sets successful musicians and artists and producers apart from the whole gazillion other. Maybe you'll discover that blending 2 totally different genres can create a sound that's uniquely yours. I've seen this so many times with different artists. Putting it together and it sounds beautiful, it's something that works. That could be your niche, that could be your unique sound. Or maybe you'll find that incorporating a specific instrument or technique into your music sets you apart. The key really though is to keep trying new things until you find what feels authentic and natural to you. Don't try to force a sound that doesn't feel true to who you are as an artist or a producer. Once you feel like you've found that unique sound and you're getting some good feedback on it, it's important to embrace it and really roll with it, really make it your own, and stack on that. Incorporate it into everything you do, from your songwriting to your live performances. Really hone in on that's who you are. In the end, that's really what's gonna help us stand out in this super crowded music industry. A good story would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he first got into Hollywood, I mean, how many no's did he get? Like, dude, your accent is crazy. You're never gonna work in Hollywood, that accent. And at the end of the day, what was the thing that made him stand out and become a superstar, megastar? It wasn't his acting skills. He was just this distinct, his accent. The thing that made him super unique and was weird was what made him a star. And that's the analogy, that's the same idea we need to take to our music. I know a lot of singers that they have this like a weird lisp or a weird way of pronouncing words. And that's what made them special. Look at Rihanna's song, "Shine Bright Like a Diamond." I mean, the way like they overdid that purposely because it became so catchy. Just the way that her and her song, I forgot the girl's name, but the way that they wrote that, they weren't saying diamond just in a normal way. They were doing it in a weird, catchy way, but it made it theirs. It made it unique, and it made it a hit song. I wish somebody really emphasized to me how important live performance is early in my career. I was a studio rat early on. I never really got on stage. I never really played in a band regularly to get better at my craft. I was always in the studio, always creating. But when you really take time to get better at your live performance and playing live, you see music and music creation as a whole in a whole different way, the macro of it, and vice versa. There might be people who are always just playing live but never jump in the studio. It's two different things, but you need to really hone the craft of your live performance where you can connect with people in a whole different way that you just can't do it through social media, streaming, or just recording a song. You can really see what sounds, what songs are working right on their faces. You can tell if something's working. You can tell if it's not working. It would have helped on the money. It would have helped on gaining a fan base faster. But live performance is also an opportunity to hone your craft and improve as a musician. It's a chance to experiment with new arrangements, try out new material, collab, and see what works best for the audience. And I wish I knew that earlier in my 20s. I would have got myself out there and played in more live situations, played in more bands instead of being a cooped up studio rat the whole time. Also, if you perform live more, it encourages you to practice, get better at your craft, and learning that you can't just redo in the studio. You get so used to the, okay, try it again. But live, there's no going back. It's the one time is the one time, and that changes your whole mentality and it builds your confidence on how you're going to deliver a performance. If someone told me, hey, look, rehearse your set until you know it inside and out, that's a whole different mindset than, hey, let's just go in the studio and see what we come up with. Both are needed, but I only was one-sided early on. So I wish someone told me, hey, get right on that live thing right away. Also, live performance leads to naturally learning how to market yourself better. If you guys have a show, you have to learn how to get people in the seats. You have to learn how to put yourself out there and ask the question. If you're always in the studio just creating, you never really learn how to take your product and actually offer it to the market and say, hey, look, I made something, please take a listen. Doing live performances helps you build that confidence of, I'm out here, I'm doing this, take a listen, I hope you like it. And if you do, here's some things you can do to support me. And just being in the studio all day, you're not gonna learn those skills and those techniques. Building a fan base. When I first started, social media wasn't, we had to go the old school route. We would go to all the malls, we would play all the schools, we would do, all the things that were the old school style of building your brand and building a fan base. That obviously has changed, but I wish somebody had told me the importance of just talking to each and every person that showed any kind of interest, because as the story goes, 1,000 true fans is really all you need to build a successful career, and that's a great launching pad. And if you just talk to one person and make their day and make them feel special, they're gonna tell 10 other people or 3 other people, and it just snowballs. So I wish I knew early on how important it was to talk to everybody that actually gave and wanted to listen. I remember not taking the time, either one, because I was shy, or two, felt like it didn't matter, but at the end of the day, you need to put yourself out there, build a fan base, and talk to everybody you can. Go and talk to 5 people that were there. I hope you guys liked it. Please follow me on Instagram, follow me on YouTube, check out some stuff I have on Spotify. And just that starts to add up. People forget how important it is to do that. At some point, obviously, you get too busy to do that. But in the beginning, we need that. Take 10 minutes out of each day and go on all your platforms, comment back, and do something that helps build the rapport between you and your fan base, because it's just as important as making a great song. If nobody knows about the great song, then it doesn't matter. It's ultra important for all of the ways that your fan base can get to you is set up correctly. All your bios should be on every social media page. Everything has to be set up. Don't leave it. Don't make it hard for someone to find you and understand your story from one click. The one click should really already be at a spot where they're like, okay, I see what this is. This could be for me, or this isn't. You can't think we can't think people are so interested in our music and our story that they're just gonna go hunt and find you. It just doesn't work that way, especially now. There's just so much music, so much artists out there. So we have to make sure every point of entry for your fan base, it's got enough for them to be like, oh, this is kind of cool. I'm gonna stick around. You got to get out there and collaborate with other people. You need to see how other people approach making music. You need to learn from other people. That's the main thing. There's so many things to learn from other people when it comes to anything from how to play an instrument, how to approach a song, how to market yourself. I didn't get that point when I was just starting my career in my 20s. I worked with one or two people, but you have to work with as many people as you can. Don't see too many successful artists, producers, creators that have not collabed with, hundreds of people. They've learned so much by working with other artists, other creators. Just getting other people's insight and perspective on things will help you get out of the rut. I wish I learned that early on, because you just sit there pounding your head like, why this, why that, when you could have just spoke with somebody who's been there, who's done it, and give you a lot more insight as to why you keep hitting a wall with this certain problem. And you need to learn to open yourself up and collaborate with, I'm not just saying with other musicians, I'm saying with just professionals also. Collaborate with other concert promoters, graphic designers. They all have insight into, they might have seen it, been a part of a successful artist and have seen the growth, and they can see some of the commonalities to your path, and they can help you go, oh, you know what, this is what helped them when that happened. The last and the biggest one for me, and probably for a lot of you, I wish I knew early to be cool and be open to criticism. We just think we're all that, we're the bad, no one can tell me nothing, right? It's like I know where I'm going, I know what I'm doing, but man, I blew so many opportunities having this young person's mentality and ego of, you can't tell me nothing, and what are you gonna teach me? Look at me. It was so bad. I was confident, but overconfident, and you should always be open to criticism. Obviously, there's going to be the trolls, there's going to be people who are just looking for attention, but if you dig down deep and you see a lot of people have constructive criticism that you could really use to improve faster. I wish I knew that early on. As an artist producer, it can be hard to hear negative feedback about your work. It's really hard. It's still hard to this day, but I've learned to accept it and sift through the good criticism. I've learned a lot by getting critique from people who, both sides, people who have done it, who are up there, and people who are just everyday people that don't even do music. That's some of the best criticism actually that you can get. They're not looking at it from artist to artist, producer, creator. They're just looking at it as a normal human being consuming art. This is cringy because, or oh, that's kind of cool because. So I wish I was open to that criticism early on in my career. But being able to take constructive criticism and use it to improve your craft is actually a skill that you have to develop. So if you ask yourself of it early, then at some point you'll develop that skill. And believe me, it's a huge skill to have. You need to learn over time to take criticism, constructive criticism, make your craft better from it. Don't be afraid to seek out feedback from others, and don't ask your family, don't ask your close friends. Ask people who don't know you. Ask people who aren't musicians. Ask people who are actually industry professionals and get that hard truth feedback. It will fast forward you to where you need to be 10 times faster. You'll see the people who don't align with your artistic vision or don't get it. It's a fine balance. I know there's going to be a lot of things that we do as artists and they're like, you guys just don't get it yet. And that could be true. A lot of great things are shamed in the very beginning. Genius is always ridiculed, right? Until it becomes, I know there's a fine balance, but I'm talking about making sure you learn the skill of being able to take criticism. It's not a skill you most of us develop right away. So if you start early, learning how to put yourself on the chopping block and then take it and use it for what it is, it'll help you grow a lot faster. All right, guys, your support means the world to me. Help me out. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, share this with somebody that you think needs to hear it. And I am looking forward to seeing you on the next video. All right, take care, guys. Peace.